Welcome to the Diane McClay Show, empowering life through choice. Get ready to discover new perspectives, motivation, and balance through Diane's compassionate storytelling and insightful discussions. Whether you're feeling stuck and discouraged, or curious and looking for more possibilities, Diane has your back, and she's ready to take you on a journey of self-discovery and expansion. Choice is powerful, and so are.
Welcome, everybody, to Friday the 13th, where I'm officially dubbing today Reframe Friday on Transformation Talk Radio and the Cornelius Stuffman Media Group. I'm your host, Diane McClay, where we're here to help you empower your life and empower your choice. My guest today is Denise Stegel, and she is actually on the Cornelius Stuffman Media Group. She just came on earlier on the Crooked Climb. We'll get into that in a little bit, but she's the CEO and curator of Living Healthy List. Her mission is to engage, educate, and empower women to create healthy, happy lifestyles that they are meant to have. Denise, welcome to the show. I'm so happy that you and I get to talk, and we've bonded a lot over choice and lots of good stuff. So I can't wait for what this conversation is going to bring today.
Oh, it's great. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's great connecting with you and just kind of chatting and seeing what it all happens, what all comes out.
Right. Well, I want to tie this all in. Reframe Friday just popped into my head literally before we just got on the air. But I listened to the four hosts that are in the Cornelius Stuffman Media Group today, starting at noon, Two Girls and a Plant with Adrian and Shannon. They featured raw food chef Matt Amsden, and there was some great information about how to live healthy and start to do simple things to bring food into our bodies to nourish ourselves. At 12:30, obviously, it was your show, and I grabbed something from your show that I'm going to steal. You said, let's change it up. And I'm going to add, let's change it up with choice. Choice and courage are two words that are important to me. So let's change it up. Let's talk to folks today about the dog days of summer. What happens when we get into the busy lifestyle of family reunions and fairs and parties and all of those really crazy festive events that we like, ooh, that's really good potato salad, but I've had it 10 times. How can I change? Right. And let's just talk a little bit about the 25 years of experience you bring to nutrition and cooking and healthy lifestyle, and really what lights you up and why you want to share what you want to share with the world. Let's just start there.
Let's do it. I got lots to say.
Awesome.
25. Every time I hear that, I'm like, 25 years? Really? Is it? Ooh, probably more than 30 now, but.
Right. Well, you could say more than half your life, and then, people wouldn't really know how old you are.
I have no idea.
Right.
I still think I'm 21.
Well, and let's go to that, right? What allows your body and your mind and your soul to function and feel like you're 21, even though you're not? And let's talk about the passion that you bring into the world about healthy living and happy life.
So it's funny, healthy living, happy life is something that I coined quite a few years ago, because everybody thinks it's supposed to be the other way. Everybody thinks, if they're happy, everything's going to be hunky-dory and everything will fall into place. And as a nutritionist, as somebody with food background, I realized that it really is the opposite. If you're healthy body, mind, spirit, then happiness just kind of happens. It goes along with it. It doesn't happen the other way around. And I was really fortunate to realize that really early in my life and in my career. And so I think I've always been moving along this path to creating Living Healthy Lists and helping women to, educate them and empower women to really take control. It's your life. Live the life you love. You can do it.
Absolutely. And we're going to tie choice and courage in there. Again, they're two of my favorite words. I have them on my wall. Choice came to me when I shifted out of a job that I thought was going to be my retirement job. I didn't realize at the time that I was burned out and I was unhappy. But what ended up happening for me is I kind of fell into a place of complacency, and my performance started to drop a little bit. And, there was a point where they asked me to do a different job. And when they asked me to do a different job 6 hours away from my family, there was an aha that I didn't have to do what other people thought I should do. I had the ability to step into my own life and do what really made me happy. It was literally this big, gigantic light bulb for me. It was like, man, I really do have choice in my life about what makes me happy. And I think it's really critical that we share with our listeners, like, what are some ways that we can just make some easy choices to start that process, to start building our confidence and our courage up?
Mhm. I think the first thing to do is to decide that you want to live a healthy, happy lifestyle. You actually have to sit and think about it. So many of us, we're busy, there's stuff going on, and we kind of feel like we're living, like going through the motions and kind of flying by the seat of our pants every now and then. But if we just stop and really consider, what is it that we want? Choose wisely based on what's in your heart and what's in your head. I mean, for me, I've been feeding people forever. I started cooking when I was 11, not because I had to, but because there was an opportunity and I thought it was fun. It was something to bring people around the table to enjoy food and to gather and to really connect with others. So for me, that's where my passion for food really began. And so for me, the choice to eat real food is, for me, number one. And that's how I can do everything else in my life and make those better choices. And I don't always make great choices. It is life. I know you and I were talking about, lifestyle. Sometimes there is an 80-20 rule. But if you're making good choices, it seems to be like a kind of like you start doing on a roll. You make one good choice and you make another good choice. And then all of a sudden, most of the choices that you're making are choices that really connect with your heart and soul.
I want to call a couple things out. You're using the phrase good choice. And really, when we talk about that, we're talking about choosing food. So, an apple versus a candy bar would be considered a good choice for the body. In my world of coaching, I know that a lot of people get paralyzed by trying to make the right choice or fearful of making the wrong choice. And I really think it's important, like, let's start with, can we agree that let's make a choice to do something different than what we've been doing? And that might help remove the barrier of, oh man, I don't know what a good choice is, or I don't know what's better than this. I can tell you, I was out, literally out all day, forgot to eat, stopped at a gas station. I'm like, oh, I'll just get some Pringles. And I read the can, right? They're potato chips, right? It's just potatoes and salt, right? No, it's not. I read something that was like genetically modified food product.
Yep.
And I like
potatoes,
right? And I got curious, and then I typed in, what is the genetically modified food product in Pringles? Sorry, Pringles. But then I learned not only was there something in there that somebody modified, but the process of baking the chip actually creates a carcinogen that can build up in our body. So guess what? That whole can of Pringles literally just went away, because now I have information, I have awareness about something. So what you're saying is stop, pause, create some space, look around, collect some information. And then I think you and I both can just make a different choice and then assess again. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think you make a really good point. You have to start with a choice. And yes, make a choice that is different. So if you're somebody, and I have a friend who truly for years ago, she lived on Snicker bars and, diet pop, and she did fine until she didn't. And one day she just kind of woke up, not feeling good, tired, frustrated, and just said, I got to do something different. And so she started with, oh, get this one, drinking water, better than the soda. So it was a step, and she said she started slow. And that's the other thing. You can make a choice. It doesn't have to be the same choice all the time. You can modify that choice. And again, we are talking food wise here. I talk eat real food.
Right. Let's go back. You mentioned the 80-20 rule. And I mentioned, we're in the dog days of summer, where festivals and fairs and all sorts of tempting, not so great foods are out there for us. And certainly there's a benefit to rewarding our psyche. Like, I have friends that we go to the fair, and instead of everybody getting everything, everybody gets one thing that they like, and then we all take a bite, and then we get a little taste of all the bad food, but we don't feel terrible afterwards, right? That's a process. But let's talk about 80-20, and then let's talk about road tripping and how we can engage choice and eating real food when we know we're going to be in environments that either we can't control or that don't have the routine that we're used to building for ourselves at home.
Sure, sure. Well, to the 80-20 rule, I really believe this is, it's a great way to live your life, because no one wants to be 100% perfect all the time. That is exhausting.
Yes,
and it is unattainable. You could do it for a week, maybe a month, but then, cravings start to come in. If you're doing everything 100% perfect all the time, and you're not eating my favorite thing, I love chocolate chip cookies and I love donuts. Oh my gosh, do I love donuts. Seriously, Dunkin' Donuts, the jelly filled one with the sugar on it. Oh my gosh.
Ooh,
one of my favorite things.
You're making my mouth drool.
I know, I'm like the same thing. I'm like, ooh, I gotta go get one of those. I haven't had one in a while. But I do, I love these donuts. If I said to myself, I'm never gonna have a Dunkin' Donut strawberry filled donut ever again, I would be really bummed. And I would say to myself, okay, I can do this for now. But the next time I drive by Dunkin' Donuts, I'm going to be in there and I'm going to order a dozen of them, not one, a dozen, because I've said I can't have them. Anytime you say when it comes to food, you can't have that, or that's a no food, you automatically crave it. It's just something in your mind. It just happens. So if 80% of the time you're eating real food, you're making good choices, you're drinking enough water, and sleeping and exercising and all those good things, you know what? 20% of the time is life. Friday is date night. And so I know tonight I'm going to go out to dinner. I'm not going to know exactly how the food was prepared, how much butter, how much oil. I can control that when I'm at home. That's my 80%. Nice. For my 20%, I'm okay with, if they add a little bit extra butter, it tastes good. And because of that, I don't really crave anything, because I'm not taking it out of my diet. And I think that's really important. I truly don't believe in taking anything out of your diet and food-wise, unless you are allergic to it and you have a food sensitivity. That's different. And I think, so eat, have a hamburger. I would say go to get a really good hamburger instead of your fast food joint burger, but don't take the burger out of your diet if you like them. You may not want.
And to that, like there's a choice there, right? Absolutely. Society and tradition says, let's put a piece of meat in between two white pieces of bread, right? Which really generally do not have much caloric value for us,
no.
Right? So my mom, she'll order a burger all the time and she'll ask for no bun. Still tastes the same. She still puts all the condiments on it, cuts it up, has a little salad on the side. Now she's got a hamburger on a salad. So even within the meal, she's applied an 80%, 20% formula to it. I don't know who, yeah, right. I can't remember who said this, but I love the phrase. It's everything in moderation, including moderation. Mm-hmm. Right. So there's that 20%. And what it does for us in our minds, it gives us permission not to deny ourselves the things that make us happy. I mean, it's important to feel happy. It's important to not feel happy with like a dozen donuts all at one sitting. Right. But, you and I were talking about donuts. I like donuts too. Out in Portland, we have something called voodoo donuts where people literally stand in line for 45 minutes to get these things. And I thought it was the most ridiculous thing ever until I had one. And then I was like, oh, now that I've had a voodoo donut, I'm actually not really tempted to buy the box of gas station donuts that have been sitting on the shelf for who knows how long. Right. So now my quality is still, it's still not so great food, but it's fresh ingredients. It was made today. I know what got put in it. And if I leave it in my car overnight, I know it's going to disintegrate as opposed to the one that lasts there forever. So speaking of cars,
back to choice.
Yeah.
There's a choice there.
Right.
There's the good donut versus the, gas station donut.
Well, and it's the one that I can look forward to. And I know that I can make that donut an experience rather than a habit. Mm-hmm. Right. So there's another choice. You talked about, let's talk about cars, road tripping. You and I talked before we got on the air about how we can incorporate 80-20 into our space when we're on the road or we go into other people's houses. So bring a couple of those points up for our listeners about how we can have a little bit more choice and control when it feels like really we don't.
Mm-hmm. So in this one, I really do think that it's something you have to think ahead. So you need to have a plan. You need to prioritize what's going to happen, and then you need to prepare for it. So what's the plan? Okay, so we're going to be going away for a week. We're going to be road tripping. What am I going to need? What are the places that I'm going to go to? What are the restaurants that I want to go to? Is there a diners, drives, and dives, that place that I want to go to? Okay, great. If I know I'm going to do one of those, I better find a salad place too to add into the list of restaurants that I'm going to eat at during this road trip. I also think it's really important to incorporate snacks, healthy snacks, because when you're on the road and you're traveling, whether you're visiting family or staying in a hotel, your life is not normal. I mean, that's just not a normal routine. And so you might sleep late, you might eat late. And so your eating habit or your eating routine is off. So that's really when healthy snacks come in into play. And sometimes I'll bake stuff, and I'm not much of a baker, I'll tell you that, but I'll make my own granola. Why? Because I know what's in it. Again, it's that ingredients. If you know what's in the food that you're eating, you feel better about eating it. But that's the planning and prioritizing, is going to write it down. What do you need? What do you like? What are the snacks that you can easily pack in your backpack? Because I travel the backpack. Actually, we both do. We all travel with a backpack here in my house. And you don't want stuff that's going to go bad. You don't want stuff that's going to squish. So planning ahead of time and knowing where you're going. So if you're going to a family reunion and Aunt Sally's got the best lasagna ever, and she puts it on the plate and it falls on the plate, thunk. It's heavy, but it's so good.
It's so good.
And you're not going to just have the one little piece, because Aunt Sally's going to put it on give you a big old hunk of it. I hope it was the same aunt I just mentioned before. But it's so good. And so you eat it and everybody else is eating it and you're having a good old time and you're all chatting. And before you know it, you've had 2 huge pieces of Aunt Sally's lasagna because you weren't thinking about it. So plan ahead. Okay, I know I love Aunt Sally's lasagna. We're going to have a piece. So what do? Eat a salad before you get there. So you're kind of full already. There's enough room to enjoy the lasagna, but you're not going to go and gorge on it either.
Or a little bit of protein, a handful of almonds, or a half of a protein bar or something like that. That's going to take up a little bit of the room. I was out on. I like the fact that you're talking about. I really want to call us out: plan, prepare, and prioritize. I live near a river. I'm a brand new wakeboarder, and anytime we have flat water, I'm out there. And I finally have figured out, because once I get out there and it's flat, I'm out there for 2 or 3 hours, and I usually eat a good breakfast before I go because I know I'm going to be cold and I'm going to be burning calories. I don't know how many times I've been out, but I finally figured out to put some protein bars in the console of the jet ski. Because guess what? The driver isn't the one who's going to get hungry. It's the wakeboarder who's in water that's 20 degrees less than their body temperature and is, really putting the energy out. So I said, hey, I need a protein bar. And because I planned ahead and because I prioritized how I ate, I actually was able to get out and stay out a lot longer and enjoy my time on the water. So I think it's really important: planning, preparing, and prioritizing.
I think so many people when I talk about planning, they kind of like, oh, I don't want to plan. It's one more thing I have to do. And it's scary for people. And my sister and I have had this conversation so many times, especially when it comes to like meal prep and things like that. But planning ahead, it doesn't have to take a lot of time and a lot of effort. It could take 3 minutes to say, okay, what am I doing? Where am I going to be? What do I need? And just jotting it down on a sticky note. I love my sticky notes.
Planning ahead, I want to go to that too. A lot of times I have a lot of staples. I grew up in the Midwest, just like where you live. I was in Michigan, and you have like 10 of the staples, right? Whatever you're always going to be using. And now I'm learning to actually look in my pantry and look in my cupboard and see, what do I have? And then what am I missing, so that I minimize the amount of money I'm spending in the store, because I'm not wandering around aimlessly. And then 2, I'm also not inadvertently wandering through the middle of the store and getting tempted by a lot of the things that I've really been making an effort to cut out of my life. So I will also now at a point be like, well, I don't know that I'm going to make this one recipe, but if I do, what are the ingredients that I'd like to have on hand so that I can? And that's another place of prioritizing and planning.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's one of the things that I think most of us stress out the most about is, what we're eating, how we're eating, what we're cooking. I love to cook, but even I have to have a plan. And I don't have to stick to it 100%. But as long as I know what I have in the pantry, like you said, and in my freezer, you can freeze stuff for a long time. So if you don't eat it, the dish that you think you're going to make this week, you have it next week or the week after. But knowing what you have on hand, and I get a little bit crazy with this. I actually do keep on hand, what I have in the pantry, what I have in the freezer. So I can take a look and say, okay, I've got this and this and this, and I'm good for the next 2 weeks. All I need to go to the supermarket for are my veggies and my fruits.
Right. So what's it in your experience of working with people? What is one of the excuses that you hear a lot that you'd like to debunk or rebuke? What is a barrier to people planning, prioritizing, preparing, or even making choices that would be healthy for their bodies? What would you want to say to people who have that excuse? So name it and tell me how you would coach them around that.
Honestly, the number one thing people will say to me is, I don't have the time, because they think it's going to take so much longer than it does. They've never sat down and tried it. And we think it has to be a big chore. Planning doesn't have to be a big chore. It can take literally 5 minutes. And once you have a list in front of you, you have a plan. This is what I have. Okay, I have chicken, I have brown rice, I have pasta, I have, tomato sauce. You know what you have in the pantry, and you can say, oh, okay, this is what I'm going to make all week. And you've got a plan. It's simple. It may take 5 or 10 minutes. Then, of course, you have to make those meals. So that's number 2. That's the second point, is actually taking the time or making the time to prepare the meals. And this is where meal prep comes in. And I say to people, if you spend 1.5 hours on a Sunday or a Saturday, whatever day, preparing, making your plan, seeing what you have in the pantry, in the freezer, doing your market run, and cooking, prepping some of the food for the week, in 1.5 hours, you will save yourself an hour each day moving forward. So
I can attest to that.
Hmm?
I can attest to that. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I can attest to that. My wife worked a 1 o'clock in the morning shift, so our main meal was 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And bottom line is, we would make Saturdays and Sundays were the days that we had time together. So when we made breakfast, we were also simultaneously putting something in the crock pot, or if we're dicing vegetables for breakfast, they're diced for the next meal. I can absolutely tell you, in my own personal experience, that's 100% true. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but go.
No,
keep going.
I appreciate that. And what I do, I'm a master planner. So in a past life, I actually was a corporate meeting planner, and the calendar, honoring your time in your calendar. If you put meal prep in your calendar, say you're going to do it on Sunday at 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, it's in there and you honor it. The rest of your week is you skate through it, but you have to honor it. So if you're going to do it, you have to do it. You have to eat, right? Take the time 1 day a week to plan it, to prep it, and move forward. It is so much easier mentally, physically, emotionally, because it can be really emotional when you kind of get home from work and you go, oh, what am I going to have for dinner? I didn't take anything out. And then inevitably people go running to the fast food place, or they eat dinner out. More calories, not as good, not as good choices, not as many good choices. And so truly time, I know time is of essence, but if you take the time, take that 1 hour, 1.5 hours once a week to save yourself 5 hours for the rest of the week, I think it kind of evens itself out. But truly, I think time is the biggest challenge, people will tell me.
And it's ironic you're saying that because time is always our biggest challenge on these shows. We cover so much in such a short period of time, and we have other shows behind us that we need to yield time to. Before we go, I want to call out that you were actually contributing author to the Successful Body book by Eric Severson. There's 33 authors that focus on fitness, nutrition, mindset, mind-body connections, healthy living. Folks can get that on Amazon.com, and there's also a Kindle version. Folks can turn into Your Crooked Climb show. That's on Fridays at 12:30 Pacific time, second, fourth Friday. Tell people how they can get a hold of you and give me the final words before we close out.
Sure. So you can find me at livinghealthylists.com. That is my website. That's our health and wellness platform. You can email me directly at support@livinghealthylists.com. That email comes directly to me. I keep an eye on that every day, so you can connect with me there. Final things I will tell you, I'm going to go back to this. Healthy living, happy life. Enjoy health, enjoy a vibrant, energetic life.
Absolutely. As far as I know, we only have one time around that we know of. So you might as well make it count. I know you are authoring a book right now. It's not ready to be published yet. You're taking it through the final steps. Will you come back when you get that closer and we can make that available to the audience so we can talk about that and share some new tips and tricks with them?
Absolutely. I would love to, Diane. I'm really excited about this book. It's this close. It's almost done.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on bringing it this close. I can't wait till we get to preview it. I can't wait till we get to feature it on the Diane McClay Show. I'm your host, Diane McClay, and reminding you to empower your life and engage your choice.
Thank you for listening to the Diane McClay Show, where you are empowered to enact change in your life through choice. You know that little voice in your head that's been telling you to pursue that passion project? Or maybe it's been screaming for you to go outside and explore the great outdoors. That voice is you, and you deserve to be heard. Listen, make a choice, make a change, and watch yourself grow. For more information about Diane or to work with her personally, visit dianemcclay.com.